You're listening to the More Than the Music podcast, episode 36, featuring Dave Frey and Ben McDonald of Sidewalk Prophets.
Our number one prayer request is pray for my son, my daughter, pray for my mother or father even, because they're lost, because they've run away from home. You know, they're no longer in the church, they're doing their own thing, they're doing this or this, and that is hands down the number one prayer request. And so it is so important for us to address that and to say, hey, listen, here's the story of this young man that was lost, this prodigal son. I don't know if he ran back home, but here's what I do know. Today's the day to run back home to your father's arms. He might have sulked home, he might have been angry, he might have been terrified, but when he got home, his father ran to him, threw his arm around him, forgave him entirely, and welcomed him back.
You're about to hear how when the band first began, Dave almost got pushed off the stage by the lead singer of Audio Adrenaline, why you'll no longer see Ben performing with Sidewalk Prophets, how they discovered their new drummer on YouTube, and what song on Something Different was inspired by the many prayer requests that the band receives. I'm Justin Paul, along with Dave and Ben from Sidewalk Prophets, and we're going to talk about a lot more than just the music.
More Than the Music is hosted by Justin Paul, a touring musician turned national radio personality who loves the dramatic, humorous, sometimes tragic, and often inspiring story behind the songs from your favorite artists. You can connect with the show at wayfm.com/Justin. Now here's your host, Justin Paul.
I am so thrilled to be joined today by Dave and Ben from Sidewalk Prophets. What's going on, guys?
What's up, Justin?
We are going to talk about the album Something Different, the stories behind the songs, plus getting to know a little bit more about you guys. Let's start way back at the beginning, though. We could probably spend our whole time talking about the formation of Sidewalk Prophets, but how'd this whole thing get started for you guys?
Ooh, you want my version or Ben's? I would say that, you know, I was an avid video gamer. My minor was in video game excellence, and while performing such incredible feats, Ben walked into my room and said, hey, your roommate says you can sing. Let's, write some songs together. Let's do this. And so I put the controller down, and I failed my minor of video gaming, but for a good purpose. I ended up, honestly, just taking up the charge, and we started writing songs in the dorm hallway and hanging microphones from the ceiling and recording whatever came out of our hearts. Those recordings back in the day where Napster was legal, and so people would share files like crazy. So we started to hear it coming out of all the dorm rooms, and like, this is a good thing, man. All these little 4-song EPs that we did. It caught the ear of a good friend of ours, Miss Sarah. Sarah took our album, unbeknownst to us, to a student-led record label they were trying to start at the university, and she submitted her EP and then told us about it later, and we ended up getting selected to like have this competition, and whoever would win this competition would go on to record another at the Bill and Gloria Gaither studios. We were blessed to have them as they helped out with so much with the music there at the school. They went there to the university, and so we ended up winning this competition by the grace of God and the skin of our teeth, and we ended up going and recording at Bill and Gloria studios, which is intimidating. You're going to the restroom, you're walking down the hall, and there's just doves and Grammys staring at you, showing you that you are quite amateur, and
as good of a singer as you are, you're not going to match those Gaither harmonies.
The Gaither harmonies, it takes 4 people to do that.
That's a whole other story, because was it 2 years ago, a year and a half ago? We went and did a homecoming, like an event, and they asked us, and they wanted Dave to sing with Sandy Patty and Bill Gaither.
Yeah, because they went there, but they all graduated.
But here's the deal, though. Bill Gaither loves Dave Frey, and so Bill Gaither, I left for 20 minutes and came back, and then they're Bill cozy up to Dave. He's got his arm around Dave, and then when they sang that night, it was awesome. I'm biased.
I stood between Sandy and Bill Gaither, and she went up to her highest, and he went down to his lowest, and my mind went to an ethereal plane. You know what I'm saying? It was amazing.
It's seriously, though, for me, I'm like the least musical band guy out there, and I'm biased because Dave and I have known each other for 15 years and been doing this for a long time, but to know that his gift, this day and age, there's a lot of people on the radio that can't sing, and Dave is one of those people that can actually sing. And when he goes and sings with people who are known for singing, and they're like, whoa, It was just really kind of surreal, like mind-blowing kind of deal where like, oh my gosh, you're in between Sandy Patty and Bill Gaither, and they both love you, and it sounds amazing.
One day you'll get to own the title because they're getting up there, Dave.
Yeah,
so
I'm getting up there. 34 is not 29.
No, I'm saying you're the youngest one of the trio. You're going to carry that on.
I am the youngest one of the trio so far.
So this all started at Anderson University in Indiana. You guys both grew up in Indiana, is that right?
I know I'm from Terre Haute, Indiana. Ben's from Alma, Michigan, right in the palm of Michigan.
And was there an encounter with Will McGinnis that happened along the way that kind of launched Sidewalk Prophets too?
To me, a lot of people ask me, what was the moment where you were like, I got to do this? And we went on what we lovingly refer to as the Tour of Death. It was 2 months on the road, just Ben and I and the band at the time, and we just were like, hey, let's see if we can do this. Were we graduated then? Yeah, I just graduated.
I dropped out.
Yeah, Ben dropped out. I just graduated, and we're like, let's just try it. Otherwise, we'll never say we tried. And so 2 straight months on the road, and about the middle of that, I'll never forget, we were playing a show in Virginia to 20 people. It was 9 a.m. The inflatables were not up at this festival. We were rocking it, and we decided to play Michael Jackson. We were having fun. We played our songs and then a Michael Jackson tune, and the Jackson tune woke up Toby Mac and Will McGinnis. Okay, so if you don't know who Toby Mac is, he's from DC Talk. He now has a pretty awesome career if you haven't heard of him. But also Will McGinnis, bass player for Audio Adrenaline. So honest to goodness, 2 of my heroes are standing watching me. And I remember coming off the stage and getting to meet Toby and Will. And I was like, Will, if Mark, their lead singer of Audio Adrenaline, if he goes down tonight, call me. I'm here for you. If he gets dysentery.
You don't know how real that is.
It's
looking
true.
back now.
Yeah. And so he called me and he said, you know what? We want you to do it. It doesn't even matter. We want you to come up after our song Ocean Floor and sing that When I Lift You Up, They Come Running. That song. He's like, sing that one. And I was like, are you serious? And so I'm like, fast forward, dry heaving backstage, 9 p.m. From 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. There are now 20,000 people out there instead of 20. And I go out after Ocean Floor to go grab the mic. And Mark has no idea. So I come traipsing along, go to get the mic. And
Will didn't give him a heads up?
No, he didn't give him any. He shoved me. Mark shoved me like I was mugging him. And then Will looked over and gave him a thumbs up. And Mark ended up understanding, and he gave me the mic, and I sang that. When I lift you up, they come running. The sound of your name is a beautiful thing. I love you, I love you, I love. And I do like a Mariah Carey, Aerosmith high note, and they went crazy, and it was amazing. Will and Mark's jaw dropped because he had no idea what was going on, and he said, "Can you sing the song Get Down?" I was like, "You know it." So he's like, "Grab that backup mic. We're gonna do this together." So I went from the parking lot, 20 people, to confetti falling on my head with my heroes on stage singing Get Down. And it was literally one of the greatest nights of my life. And then I realized after all of that, I had prayed that morning for the 1,000th time, God, show me what to do with my life. Show me where I'm supposed to be. And he was like, are you ready? Because I've been waiting your whole life to show you this. And it was one of the greatest days of my life. And Will still, 2 years later, we hadn't even talked to Will. He gave him a lot of thanks, but he saw Ben and I walking down the street, and he remembered us. And it was just such a good guy. I love the Audio A guys, man. They're such good people. And talk about life-changing. God had ordained that moment.
So why weren't you the lead singer of Audio A? That have been through 5 or 6 now.
Because we were doing our thing, baby.
I don't know, man. Like a mashup, like Sidewalk Prophets, Audio A could have been a pretty cool thing.
It could have been awesome.
They do that in Southern Gospel all the time.
We love me some Big House, man.
You could be doing that right now.
Yep.
Maybe Ben. That's the reason Ben's kind of departing from the touring life. He's going to be joining Audio A pretty soon. But Ben, in all seriousness, you're a founding member of Sidewalk Prophets, and some changes have happened this year for you. You're coming off the road. You're still a part of the band, but not touring with the band.
Yeah, it's been kind of an interesting journey. So, been doing this since 2001, and the last year and a half, and Dave kind of said earlier, is, we tour a bunch, and so I found myself in the position of managing the band and playing in it, which is great for our season. There's a lot of things going on. I think my identity was really wrapped up in being the guy that played guitar on stage, and it was time to just kind of pull the reins back and say, hey, I've been, a pretty lackluster husband on a lot of accounts. I'm tired and I'm exhausted. And so it's time to just divide those things evenly. Mm-hmm. And it's been really great. It's been kind of unexpected. I didn't think, it's just Dave's the lead singer. I don't suppose anybody ever knew who I was, but like I traveled probably about 70% of the shows, but I was just so surprised that anybody would care that I stepped off of, like, people are wondering, like, I've just stepped off stage and I get kicked out of the band. I'm not sick or anything like that. But I'm like, as far as creatively, like everything, the tour we're doing, like a lot of the like songwriting, I'm doing the same things. I'm just not on stage, which has been a significant load off of my back. But I just wasn't prepared for just people being disappointed that I wasn't there. Be like, I've had a few people at shows that I've been to, and they're like, "Why aren't you on stage?" And then like a couple people like crying, and I'm like, "Whoa!" Like this is like I was just
Got
like
some fans, man.
Yeah,
There's gnashing of teeth.
So,
it's been
but I love a challenge. Like I'm passionate about. I love the platform, and I love what God's given to us, and I love creativity. So it's for me, I love art as a whole. So it's not just music for me. Like if you come and see, we were doing this tour right now called the Prodigal Tour. Like I wrote a short story that we turned into a short film, and we combined the two. I love all things, like writing, and Dave's a phenomenal writer too. And it's like I feel like there's a whole lot of things out there, but being manager gives me just this chance to build a team. And so I've been really fortunate to be in a position now where I can objectively sit back and assess a team and try to build something like that.
What people might not understand is touring is a grueling thing. You guys have been doing this 15 years. You're one of the busiest Christian bands out there.
Yeah, I think we like to hang our hat on that aspect that we were the hardest working band in Christian music, and that's great for a while, but then you start to realize
it takes a toll on you, right?
That means something, and yeah, it does. But a big thing, we were blessed this year to add a pastor. Our pastor Cho's actually in the room here today, and we've been pouring out so much, and we don't get home for Sundays a lot, and so that takes a huge toll. And you could feel it in the air, you could feel it all around you when you pour out, and you don't get poured into, and so it's been a huge change to have that and to make sure that we are Christ-centered. You say that all the time, and you're like, oh, why are we here? It has to be about the ministry, because if it was about music, forget about it, man. I'd be home. I would be teaching. I don't know what I'd be doing, but I wouldn't be on a tour bus 200-plus days a year. So that has to be where it starts and ends.
Other transitions in the band, too. Your drummer, Justin, left this year. I don't know why he didn't call me.
I know. It would have been a good, easy transition from Justin to Justin.
My name's Justin. Hello. So what's going on there?
He's starting a nonprofit down in Spring Hill, Tennessee. His daughter, man, she's so beautiful. She started her own sweet shop and is raising funds for the homeless, and he just needed to be home with his family. And so he's doing his thing, and God's using him in a mighty way, just in a different way. So unfortunately, you don't get to see his beautiful face on the stage necessarily every day, but he's out there just making waves for the kingdom. And it was time, 3 kids and a beautiful wife, and it kind of dawned on him. And then at the end of the year, he told us, hey, I'm going to go through Winter Jam with you guys and then blaze my own trail. God's calling me elsewhere. And it broke our hearts, but at the same time, we got a new drummer named Sam from Detroit. And, you can't replace a Justin, but you can go sideways and find somebody named Sam Sam plays with such gusto that there are people that are like, I don't play drums, but I want to play drums after I see you. And that's a huge compliment. Yeah. So, we're loving it. We're loving the newness of it, but we call it Sidewalk Prophets 2.0 kind of. Yeah. And we're loving it despite the history of, our lead guitarist, Sean, who stepped down with his family. And all these things, all these changes come, but, man, our heart remains the same.
And the cool thing is, I don't know if I've seen a band at your level do it like this before. You held open auditions, and you put it out there like...
It's like The Bachelor, man.
I know, right? Usually, okay, little insider thing here. Usually, if a band member leaves or you're in transition, you call a Nashville guy and you say, hey, we need a drummer.
Sure.
Can you be the guy?
Yeah, there's one particular reason for doing it, and there's a few, but there's one main reason. To all my Nashville and all of our Nashville playing buddies, we love you guys. We've always prided ourselves on being a band that loves people and to be servant-hearted. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of people in town that feel like that you owe them something. And so by opening it up, what you want is somebody that when they step into that role, they're like, I can't believe I get to do this. But there's a lot of people that say, hey, I need more money to do this, or hey, this isn't good enough for me.
Yeah.
So we've done open auditions twice. So Big Dan, our lead guitar player, who is one of the most talented, he's only 22 now, he's one of the most talented guitar players. And I told him that when he started playing with us, I was like, dude, people will know who you are because you are an amazing guy and guitar player. Big Dan, that was open auditions we had for when Sean, our lead guitar player at the time, stepped down because he was starting a family. we held those auditions, and we had, I want to say it was 80 guitarists from across the country, including phenomenally talented people in Nashville. A lot of our friends that we were connected with in town, they would text and like they expected us to bring them out, like they wouldn't have to go do an audition or anything. I said the process is the same for anybody that wants to play with us. We might know you're phenomenal, but you need to.
But can you learn our song?
Yeah. And so we went through that with Dan, and he came from California, and the same thing with Sam. So now Sam is a little bit different in the way of we were getting a lot of these audition videos, and we're really looking for a specific thing here. And I was looking on YouTube, and I found this guy. He did he had a video cover of a Bruno Mars song. And I was watching, and I was like, I want somebody that's playing drums that when I watch them, exactly what Dave said, when I watch them, like it makes me want to play drums.
Yeah.
And so I found this video, and I didn't know who the guy was, Christian, not Christian, anything like that. And I was just like, I love watching this guy drum. And I go look at this YouTube video, and I scroll down, and it's got like a Bible verse in the bottom. And so I go to this website, and I email this guy, and I said, hey, like we're doing open auditions. I would love for you to audition for this band. And he said, and he called me. We were out on Winter Jam at the time, and he called me and said, I'm in this other band. I could maybe join you part-time. I was like, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. This is not we don't do part-time here. And so he had just went to like Bethel worship school, great dude. A week later, he called me back. He's like, you know what? I really feel like I have a lot of opportunities, but God's really called me to be specifically in a band that is very vocal about their faith. And so he came in and he hung out with us a few times, but then he went through the same audition. We had 100 people do it. And literally when we did the auditions, we had 10 guys there, and we took them all out to dinner beforehand, which just seems kind of weird.
Yeah,
so
because they're like fighting for a spot. And it's like a reality show.
They all met each other, and literally that day, almost all of the guys stayed for everybody's audition, and they really cheered each other on.
Yeah, it was cool.
And it was literally, we said, well, this is one of the best problems to have, because literally out of all these guys, we would have hired any one of them.
Well, if you ever need a bongo player, a tambourine player, a cowbell player, you've got a list of people to call, man.
That's right.
Here, stand here and play this tambourine.
The other thing is, like, we made great relationships, and people have said, hey, does anybody know a drummer? And I'm like, I know 10.
Yeah.
It's like, I got 10 great guys that can fill in anytime. So.
Now, Dave, things are changing for you too, man. You're getting married in May.
I thought you were talking about the Cubs.
Well, the Cubs, the Cubs. How about that, man?
Yeah,
Christmas came a little early,
Christmas did come early for me. Ben and I have been Cubs fans since birth. Grew up Ryan Sandberg fan and had tickets to go to the World Series. It was amazing. And so the first day I brought my dad and we lost. And the second day I brought my brother and we lost. Then the third day I brought my fiance and we won.
Look at that.
And it was awesome. And they didn't stop
be.
winning. That's right. And so, yes, the other thing is, yes, I got engaged in September. And a beautiful, amazing girl named Harmony. And she's out in Chicagoland area.
How fitting is that,
She's in Chicago.
You're a singer.
It's insane.
Her name's Harmony.
God's
She's
too
from
good.
Chicago.
It's a win-win-win, bro.
Well, so my wife and I, we were there for all those games, and we didn't want to say anything, but we were feeling like it was Dave Frey and his family that was causing the Cubs losing.
It wasn't me. It was my family. It was my brother and my dad.
I was like, wow, we went to all the other playoff games, and it was awesome. And then Dave shows up, and it was like, oh, we lose. Oh,
Nope,
we lose. Oh,
Harmony.
we're almost going to lose the World Series. But then, nope.
You Cubs fans, man, you've been waiting a long time for this.
108 years. Well, not 108. 34 for me, but no, it's been great. Yeah, so life is just a brand new page, a brand new book. You know, lots of changes in the band, lots of changes in the world, but to be engaged is a mighty fine thing, I would say, and it's exciting.
Now, we're talking about how family's changing the band and the tour schedule. I mean, what do you think is going to happen when you get married?
It'll be a new journey, a new trail to blaze, but she's very supportive. She's coming down, she's going to move to Nashville, and we're going to make a go of it and see what happens. But we have an awesome pastor in the room with us, and he's actually going to marry us and he's started our premarital counseling and all that stuff. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough to be on the road, but I definitely want to keep things rolling, keep on going. And I feel like God's got, and she encouraged me in that too. She's saying, hey, God's not done with you. Like, she goes, I feel like there's going to be a windfall next year of even more opportunities and more things to say. And that's our great desire, is just that our platform continues to expand until God says no. And then when he says no, that we'll be brave enough and strong enough to go and do what he calls us to do next. So.
She's a dental hygienist, right?
Yeah, she does practice dental hygiene. She's actually a professor of dental hygiene.
What?
Too. She just stepped down from her dental hygiene position, is going to be teaching at a school for students coming in. So, yeah, she's going to...
Another brilliant move on your part, Dave, because
yes.
I've been in bands. Insurance isn't usually that great, so you just got free dental care, man.
Now, my uncle just retired from dentistry, and now I'm marrying a dental hygienist. This is a win-win for my teeth.
So Dave's uncle. So I had some dental emergencies, and I went in and I drove a couple hours up, and he took care of me, and I was just like, this is great. Like he came in, like I'd have like a root canal and some other things.
Shout out to Uncle Terry's practice, North Vernon, Indiana. Terry Frey. Well, actually, he just retired, so
he
can't
retired.
Get there anymore.
But you can imagine the dismay for me, because I was like, he was hooking me up, and then I was just plugged in, and then one day he said, hey, we need to talk. Like, this can't continue anymore because I'm retiring, and I'm sorry to do that. I'm sorry that you've had this great service, but you're gonna have to go pay. You're gonna have to go pay somebody now.
And then look what the Lord has done.
And the Lord says, no, you don't have to pay. Like, it's all right. You lost a dentist in the family, but you're gaining another.
You're gaining another dentist in the family.
Oh man, I expect, man, those next band pictures.
Yep.
Those pearly whites.
Pearly whites.
Be shining bright. Man, jumping into the music, the first song off the album is Prodigal. We've heard this one all over Way FM. Why do you love this song?
We really wanted to write a song for our fans that they could connect to, because our number one prayer request is pray for my son, my daughter, pray for my mother or father even, because they're lost, because they've run away from home. You know, they're no longer in the church. They're doing their own thing. They're doing this or this. And that is hands down the number one prayer request. And so it is so important for us to address that and to say, hey, listen, here's the story of this young man that was lost, this prodigal son. And, you know, I don't know if he ran back home, but here's what I do know. Today's the day to run back home to your father's arms, okay? He might have sulked home. He might have been angry. He might have been terrified. But when he got home, his father ran to him, threw his arm around him, forgave him entirely, and welcomed him back. And so for Prodigal, this is our song for our fans, for all those that are lost. Today's the day to come on back home.
Man, I love that story, because you think, even what would I do, you know, if I had a kid, or if that happened to me, and I come home, my dad would probably be like, son, he'd probably give me a lecture, you know?
Sure.
But that's not what this father did. He
exactly.
It didn't even matter.
Yeah.
Didn't even matter.
That's what's mind
blowing
blowing about it. I definitely, my dad would have set me down, had some conversation.
And I think that's a good parent.
A
good parent should do that.
Christ knows, hey, when my son messes up, first I got to bring him home.
Yeah.
Bring him home, show him how much he's loved. You know, maybe the lessons come later when you start to fall deeper in love with the God that we love. But first thing, celebrate, enjoy the fact that your son that was lost is now found.
Gave him the best, man. Gave him the best robe. Got the ring out, man. It's just like, what an awesome portrayal of how God loves his children.
That's right.
No questions asked, no matter what you've done. You come running back, he's always waiting with arms wide open. He's going to give you that robe, he's going to get the fatted calf, he's going to get that ring. You're going to have a feast.
That's right.
Wherever you are, whatever you did, it's a page in your book, but it isn't the end. Your father will meet you with arms open wide. This is where your heart belongs. Come running like a prodigal. Come running like a prodigal.
Man, another song on this album that I know is really special to you guys is Everything in Awe.
Yes.
Tell me the story behind this song.
Oh my. What happened was Ben and I we wrote a lot of this album in a beautiful wooded, I would call it a log mansion, not a log cabin. It was literally like a log cabin, an indoor pool, and then a house all out in the woods. And that's where this family allowed
Sounds like a
us-
vacation.
Yeah,
Dave.
it did. It was an amazing thing. And we would fly riders in from Nashville for 3 days at a time. And some of our favorite friends would come and we'd write songs day in, day out. It was a blast. And you were surrounded by just gorgeous. There was a bald eagle across the lake at night would come and land. A gopher lived under the deck, and there was a deer that would join us for dinner once in a while. It
Where
felt
was
like
this?
Snow White. It was at Lake Wallenpaupack. It's out in
Is that real?
It is real. It is
I know,
real.
it just sounds.
I just
But it
got
was
back from a
amazing.
vacation in Montana, and that sounds like a lot
Exactly.
like what we
It's a place
experienced.
called Camp Anawana.
Camp Anawana, no, that's a Nickelodeon reference. But all that being said, this song, I mean, we were surrounded by beauty, so this song just kind of poured out. Ben had a riff that he'd been playing for decades. I'm talking a decade, and he just kept playing it. It was the last day of our writing, very last day that we were there, and Seth Mosley, our producer, was with us, and he's like, keep playing that, man. I was like, Ben always plays that. You don't have to tell him to keep playing. He'll keep, and it's this beautiful little
Guitar
riff.
players do that.
Over and over, yeah. And Seth said, there's something in that. And he started going into his, I have like a Dave cave where I just like, I get onto a one-track mind. Well, while he was playing that, I was looking up C.S. Lewis quotes because I love Lewis. I found this one while he was playing, and we're surrounded by this nature. And it talks about how we've peopled the air and earth with as gods and goddesses and nymphs, you know, all throughout our history. And we need to take the image of Scripture seriously. And the quote that really gets me, it says, while he's playing this, I read this. If we take the image of Scripture seriously, if we believe God will one day give us the morning star, cause us to put on the splendor of the sun, we may surmise that both the ancient myths and the modern poetry, so false as history, may be near to the truth as prophecy. At present, we're on the outside of the world, the wrong side of the door. We discern the freshness, the purity of morning, but they do not make us fresh and pure. We cannot mingle with the splendors we see, but all the leaves of the New Testament are rustling with the rumor that it will not always be so. Someday, God willing, we shall get in. And that still gives me goosebumps. And I love that someday we will share in this splendor. And hands down, as soon as I saw that, I was like, everything stands in awe. Isaiah 40, he sits enthroned above the earth's great circle. It's really fun to plagiarize a lot of the Bible. I mean, it's in that. Some of those are in there. And just thinking about the universe in awe, the whole wide world in awe, my heart and soul in awe, everything stands in awe of our God.
Stars exploding in the wake of your love. Galaxies all turn their head. The skies are gazing on their one creator. Universe in awe. Whole wide world in awe. Heart and soul in awe. Everything.
Writing Christian music is not easy, but you do have this amazing reference that you can always go
That's
back
right.
to. God's
That's
word, always inspiration.
Paul is plagiarized quite a bit if you
Yeah.
listen to some Way FM. I'll tell you that.
I mean, and what an amazing thing to have too. This Scripture is inspiring these
It is.
songs. You
Yeah.
don't have to look very far. I'm not trying to diminish what you guys do as songwriters, but you have this awesome inspiration and you have these beautiful lyrics that have been written before you.
Yeah, and you just want to say, man, I never saw that verse in this way.
Yeah.
And here's a song about that. You know, this verse has been there since the dawn of the ages, and yet I see it now all clearly. It's been in front of me in my face my whole life, but I never saw it like this. And so that's kind of our goal in our job. One of the best parts of writing is just sitting down and having a conversation. What's God doing? And then from that, we can go and find a verse to speak into it.
Music for you too is not only something you do, but something you live. I hear that you are good at making like mixtapes for people.
I am a good mixtaper.
And like giving people songs kind of that
Yes.
you feel like they would love. Did you do this for the whole crew on Winter Jam?
I sure
once?
did. Yeah, we this last Winter Jam. We have a good friend, Groovy Pop Popcorn, down in Texas, and she sent us all huge buckets of popcorn to give to every band. And then on top of it, I was like, popcorn's great, but let's get like all the senses going. So I made a mixtape of a Disney song and a Nickel Creek song. I love both those things that described each band, and then 3 more songs that I loved that I thought they would love. And it was a blast. I think let me see if I don't think I have my playlist on my phone, but I do remember that Matthew West's Disney song was "You Ain't Never Had a Friend Like Me." That was a good one. That was a good call for Matthew. He's a good man. But man, we had a blast with that. And it's fun. Like, it's something that people don't expect. Like, the art of mixtape is dying. You know, it's a sad thing. There's playlists and stuff, but you know, I remember like the radio and cassettes, and like you would hit it and you might miss the first half of the first verse, and then you would get a little more than you wanted of the next song, but like that was where it was at, man. So I loved it.
You used to record songs off the radio?
Oh, you better believe that, man. All the time, baby. I would request instantly. I would always request, they did it all all for one and all for love. It was Bryan Adams and Rod Stewart and who else was that? It was the Three Musketeers song. I was like, can you play? And then I would always miss it. I would always get the last chorus, and I never knew what all the lyrics were. But
You're piecing all these mixtapes together.
Exactly.
You finally got a full song
full
out of there,
song,
man.
baby. Yep.
Do you like look at that person's personality, get to know them before you start picking songs? Is that how you do it?
Yeah, definitely. Well, over the course of Winter Jam, you start to really know these people. And I did Q&A with Trip Lee and KB and Tadashi and a lot of the guys. And you start to, find out through these questions, little funny things. Like I remember KB was saying he couldn't stand the Happy song from Despicable Me. And so I definitely put that one on there, because his kids loved it. And so, we would just find out these little interesting things. And I would write a little note like, this song means this. Like, if in this Nickel Creek song, I see you in this way. So it's fun, man.
Man, you're getting deep, man.
Yeah.
Like, Dave's a good friend.
No, I just
more friends
love
like
to make
Dave.
people smile. So
Yeah. And lead me to the next song off the record. This song, Brothers and Sisters, knowing one another, getting to know our differences, getting to know what makes each other tick, I think is something that's so important today as we see all these messages of division. This song is kind of a song of unity.
the number one thing with us when you come to a concert, we hope you know that you're a brother, you're a sister of us. You know that you are a part of what we do. If you've ever heard our song on the radio, if you ever told anybody about Sidewalk Prophets, you're a part of this ministry. And it really does take a team. It takes an effort, an entire family of people. And we really don't want to call people fans. We want to call them family. And that's the truth. And I really do believe that in my heart of hearts. And so this song, another one that kind of just poured out. We wrote it with our friends John and Casey, and just talking about the rigors of the world. And the world loves to tell you how different you are. Mm-hmm. Every day they're like, oh, you're this, or you're this, or you're this. But the truth of the matter is, if you look around, we're all in this together, okay? Mm-hmm. We all have been put here to sharpen each other, to carry each other through hard times. We are sisters and brothers, and that is a beautiful thing. There aren't too many songs that celebrate the family of God, and so we're like, we need to write one that just is an homage to saying, you know, no matter our differences, no matter where we come from, this unity of this love of Jesus. You can't deny this love of Jesus is such a beautiful thing, and no matter what your denomination says or this, whatever can divide us, Satan loves it. And so we just said, you know what? We're a family. Families have differences. We have differences of opinion, but we're going to come together and we're going to celebrate that we are sisters and brothers.
Most of the time we allow our differences to separate us.
Yes.
If we truly allowed our differences to unite us, because I think, you know, the next person that may be strong in one area that I'm not, it's like a team, and I think different ideas build us up, and they don't tear us down like we are told they do.
Yes.
'Cause we are sisters and brothers needing each other. Father, help us see that we are together with one heart. Sisters and brothers needing each other. We are.
Another one that's kind of along the same line is Come to the Table.
Yeah.
That everybody's welcome. I love the line in there. You talk about misfits and liars and thieves, and everybody's welcome.
Well, this is a fun one. I love telling this story because when we went into the studio to record, our buddy Seth, he thinks outside the box. And so he would put a movie on while I recorded the vocals just to get my mind. Like, we have a song called Rather Have You, and so we put on Back to the Future because it was like Huey Lewis scene, you know?
Yeah.
And then this one, we put on the movie Hook because of that scene in Hook where they're all gathered around the table. And if you don't know the movie Hook, it's Peter Pan's grown up. He's gone back to Neverland. And they're trying to teach him to imagine and believe again. And so they're gathered around this big dining table. And he's like, I want real food. I don't want this fake stuff. And they said, hey, listen. It's real. You got to believe it. And so it finally believes it. And you see this big food fight break out. And then I thought, that probably is what a table in heaven's like. Because every time my family got together, there was a food fight, okay? I put a Power Ranger in my brother's mashed potatoes, and it was on, you know? And it was always a blast. We had such a good time. And so this Come to the Table, we are a motley crew of misfits. Our buddy Ben Glover wrote that line, and we're like, that's a little weird, but I love it. That is what, as this family that we talk about, we're messed up sometimes, and we're misfits. And if you look through the Bible, I mean, King David was a shepherd. Moses had a stuttering issue. All these people were unworthy, you know, in their minds, but God used that motley crew to piece it all together. And so that was our hope, is this song reminds us that we're all in, once again, we're all in this together, but man, you're welcome at this table. No matter if you're a lost boy or a Peter Pan himself, man, just come on down, sit on down, and let's be set free by the love of God.
God uses the misfits, the liars, the thieves,
That's right.
and I think he does that because ultimately it has to point back to him.
Amen.
Because
redemption. Man.
Within ourselves, like we are just misfits, liars, and thieves.
Yeah.
But with God, He can take our mess and make it into something beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Come to the table. Come join the sinners. You have been redeemed. Take your place beside the Savior. Sit down and be set free. Whoa, sit down and be set free. Come to the table.
Ain't nobody till you're loved. I know the song that you love.
I do love it. My mom's an amazing woman. She saved up after 38 years. She retired and she took my brother, me, and my stepdad and her to Hawaii. And while we were there, Ben and I were like, this album's great. I'm loving it, but we need some fun. Like we need to inject some fun into it. And while you're in Hawaii, just to be thinking. And so I brought my ukulele, and I am not I play enough guitar to write, to know some chords. But ukulele, I was brand new, and I just picked it up and found 4 chords, and I played them over and over, and my brother was probably going insane in the room, sharing the room with me. But while I was there, we were like touring the lost sites and all these cool things on the beaches and like Waikiki and Oahu, the North Shore. And all the while, Ben sends me this text. He's like, I got this song. Well, I don't have really good signal up in Hawaii where I was. And all I saw was...
What a shame. No signal in Hawaii.
And that's what I was like, I don't want to think about work, but the title, You Ain't Nobody Until You Love Somebody. That's all that I saw from the email. And I was like, that's great. And so I started putting my own lyrics to what Ben had suggested, and it came out. It just was like, well, here it is. Walking down the sidewalk, I heard a prophet say, we dropped our name into it because Need to Breathe did it. Need to Breathe. And so I was like, if Counting Crows and Need to Breathe can drop their names in their own albums,
do it too.
we gonna do it too. That's right. But no, it's just a fun, it's fun, but at its heart, it's like, love is vulnerable. It's a vulnerable thing. C.S. Lewis said that as well. And it's time and time you see that unless you open up your heart and allow it to be, allow all the ugly and the good to be seen, then you're not going to really love somebody. And so until you go out and do that, you don't know what love is. And sometimes it does hurt, but in the end, it's a much richer experience. And so at the heart of this, fun ukulele Hawaii song, I do play the bass clarinet on the outro. It's an incredible...
You play the bass clarinet?
8 years of bass clarinet playing, paid off, baby, for about 30 seconds of this album. And but yeah, no, it's fun. We got the whole band. We got them clapping and stomping. Justin made his vocal debut on the album, and it's just great, man. We all got in one room. We all recorded it in like 2 takes, and then we just let it ride, man. It was fun. It was a blast.
Why don't you play the bass clarinet at a show? I want to see it.
It needs to happen. It
does.
will. It will happen. So
it's just the amount of space.
Yeah,
we don't.
big
We're
old
already out of
instrument.
bunks. We don't really have a spot for.
We
that.
have 12 people, and then if Ben comes out with us,
I've been sleeping in the back lounge.
13 people on the 12-person bus.
Man,
so we got.
What are you guys casting crowns? Come on.
We are. We basically are now. No. Yep. Casting crowns. I love those boys, but they need like 6 buses.
Yeah. Seriously, how are you going to bring
those
everybody
guys and
out on
gals
tour?
are great. They're great.
Cause you ain't nobody till you love somebody. So go on, go out, give your heart away. Cause you ain't nobody till you love. Just remember, you always love.
Now, another thing I found out about you is that you just bought a house.
Yes.
That's kind of an older home.
Sure.
So you're doing some fixing up? Is that
You
what I
think
hear?
I would be, but
Yeah.
I'm not on the road. I'm on the road. So.
Are you good at that stuff?
Oh, I'm incredible at hiring somebody to come and
Me too.
plumb my plumbing. No, I have green floors, hardwood, beautiful hardwood that was painted green. Actually, teal.
Who would do that?
Somebody. I'm not going to say their names on the air. Actually, I don't know them, but the former homeowners did. And the lady, I'll never forget, my realtor was so sweet. And she's like, this family was very very artsy. And then she opened the door and I saw these green floors. I was like,
always a great
but you know
preface.
what? And that's what makes me know that my fiance is the one. Is I was so trying so hard to get new floors down before she ever saw it, and it just didn't work out. And she's like, you know what? We can live with green floors. At least until I come to Nashville. And I was like, all right, that's good. But
you can live with green floors.
Exactly. That's what she was saying. No, it's awesome. Like, that is definitely the first project that I need to make happen. So, but yeah, it's been awesome.
We're redoing our office at home. My wife works from home, so her office is where she lives all day. And she watches a lot of Fixer Uppers, so she wanted a shiplap wall in her office. And of course she's like, honey, do you think we can do this? And I was like, no, absolutely not. And just this weekend I was sitting at home while that person was in our office redoing, and it's like every pop of the nail gun and run of the saw was just like screaming at me, you're not a man, you can't do this. So,
it is a little humbling is what I'll say, but it's kind of fun when you do actually do it. But like literally, we've been on the road a lot, and then when I haven't been on the road, I've been flying back and forth from Chicago. So at some point, it's gonna happen. But right now, I'm tentative to invite a lot of people over to the green.
So you
Florida
can
house.
do it. You just don't have time to do it.
No, I also can't. Okay. I also will try, just like a man should. Just like Tim Allen taught me. You know, home improvement. Oh, that's it. That's where I learned all my skills. And that always ended bad.
Well, what a perfect transition to the last song we're going to talk about, Homeless Heart. Dave is not homeless anymore.
No.
You've got your own home. You're fixing it up. You're going to be on HGTV. Tell me about Homeless Heart, though.
Homeless Heart is kind of an homage to our college days. If you listen to it, it feels like some of the first songs that Ben and I ever wrote. And we had a lot of fun writing this one, and we really wrote it for like a Rich Mullins project. And through things, it didn't get used for the project, but we just wanted to kind of hone in on how much we loved the Ragamuffin Gospel and Brennan Manning's desire that I'm deeply aware, I'm deeply loved by a love I'll never deserve. Those are Brennan's words. And that is hard to fathom, that I'll never deserve this love, but I'm deeply loved by it. And so from that statement, we decided to just paint a picture of somebody just shuffling on through life, just trying to get through, because we're not made to be here. But while we are here, we need to continue to exude Christ, to show him. And so it sounds kind of bleak, the song. It paints a picture of almost like one of those November days where the leaves have kind of finally fallen off the trees. And it just reminds me of college, in so much as I remember walking to class. And even though the sky was dark and things were cold, starting to get a little too cold, and your bones started to shudder a little bit, you still realized that what you were pressing on to, what you were pushing on for, was home. And that home, eventually we will stand there with Christ, and we'll stand hand in hand. But until that day comes, we want to make sure that as many people as possible can get to know this love that we know, that we will never deserve, but loves us deeply.
I'm a homeless heart, trying to find a way back to you. I'm a homeless heart, trying to find a way back.
Guys, I'm so thrilled that you were here. Thank you for taking the time to share the stories behind these songs, and for being so open and honest and real about your personal life too, man. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, honored. Thank you, Justin.
Thanks for listening to the More Than the Music podcast, episode 36, featuring Dave Frey and Ben McDonald of Sidewalk Prophets. If you've made it this far, you obviously love the podcast. So would you consider sharing it with your friends on social media? Your Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram share only helps more people hear the amazing stories behind these songs. You can connect with the show, find links to my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and even have a chance to win a CD of Sidewalk Prophets' Something Different that was featured in this episode at wayfm.com/Justin.